Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, boys? Running Routes
Hey,
Podcast. How's it going, gentlemen?
Let's go. Let's get the
let's
picks.
go. Running routes. Another
Picks.
one coming
Me
at
a
you.
mo-
Picks.
Hit me a mo.
Week
Let's
6,
do
here
this.
we come. We
Let's
got
go.
some good football, hopefully. Thursday night happening right now. Washington Commanders and Bears. It'll be interesting. Carson Wentz looking to go 7-0 here on Thursday Night Football. We'll see if he can make it happen.
Be interesting.
But
Interesting stat.
first,
Interesting stat.
Almost
First
halftime, and
game
it don't
here.
look like the game started.
That's it, 0-0 right now. No,
Wow.
barely crossing the 50-yard line. But let's jump into these Sunday football games.
Let's get it.
1 o'clockers, no Londons this week. So first game of the week, San Francisco 49ers 3-2 going into Atlanta. Atlanta Falcons 2-3. San Francisco is a big 5-point favorite here. What you guys thinking here?
This is tough.
49ers had that big win, big dominant defensive win there against Carolina last week, and the Falcons had a rough go with Tampa till the fourth quarter, and then there's some issues that happened there, but that's last podcast. But this is an interesting game. I think 49ers will be able to hold Atlanta Falcons offense back slow enough. I just don't know if the Falcons have enough on defense to slow a smart offense like the 49ers have. So I'm going to go 49ers here.
Yeah, I think 6.5 is too much.
Yeah, I think that's crazy because Atlanta's putting up 23 points a game. I get that the San Francisco 49ers are only allowing 12 points a game, 4 field goals basically a game. I get that, and Atlanta's defense putting up 24, 49ers only scoring 21. This is one of them games that you just don't know. They're not divisional opponents. They don't, they don't play themselves a ton of times a year. I'm gonna go the upset here. I'm taking Atlanta. They're getting Drake. Drake's not questionable. He's healthy. I like that.
It should be back.
I like that. So, you got Kyle Pitts is still questionable. That's tough, right? I mean, we don't know if it's a definite start. It's questionable.
He practiced today, so that's a good sign.
Definitely. That's huge. They're gonna need him to win this game. I'm sure there's gonna be many Debo sightings, but I'm taking Atlanta in this one. What about you, Nick?
You almost convinced me to go Atlanta off just on camera. I've been settled on San Francisco. And
I'm just going upset here. That's
you
all.
almost convinced me, but I think I'm going to still stick with San Francisco.
Easy pick. That's the easy pick.
They're dealing with some injuries. Don't by any means look. The Falcons haven't met a team this year that the other team said, "Oh, we handle business against them," right? But that's kind of been the MO for Atlanta for a long time. They're always in tight games, but they lose. Especially these comebacks. They're notorious for the comeback loses and stuff like that. But I think the rushing game for San Francisco is just improving that much. Jeff Wilson, 100 yards from scrimmage, 3 out of 4 games for them this year. They just got Tevin Coleman off of the practice squad coming over on the number 2, who had 2 tutties last week, 67 yards on the ground. I think that same production comes from the rushing game from San Francisco, considering Atlanta's rush defense ranks below the middle of the pack. I gotta go San Francisco 49ers, but it's gonna be a squeaker. It's gonna be a tight one.
It's gonna be a game. I think.
Atlanta could surprise some people. I don't disagree with you, Eddie, but I gotta take Niners. What about you, Charlie?
I think I got to slide Niners too, but I agree with all of y'all. That point spread is a little high for me, especially on an early kickoff. That's like 11 a.m. kickoff for the 49ers, so they might get off to a little bit of a sluggish start. Atlanta's been game, like y'all said, with everybody, and they just faced the Tampa defense where if the things would have felt a little different and maybe you got a Kyle Pitts at least available out on the field, they could have put up one more score and been right in it with the Bucs. And you're right, Nick. They've been right there every game. So I'm going to go 49ers kind of reluctantly. I almost wanted to jump on Atlanta with Eddie, but I guess, play it safe here and go 49ers.
I mean, Cordell Patterson would make me feel so much more comfortable, but I'm gonna stretch out on a limb here. every now and again the little guy wins one. So, maybe it could be this one here. I mean, the 49ers aren't.
I'd like to see Arthur Smith start being a little bit more creative there on that offensive play calling, because once he ran out of the pocket from he was being scared of being sacked, because they hadn't sacked him like 5 times at that point, and he was running for 20-yard gains. There, I was like, crap. All right, let's slow Mariota down. Let's play a little bit more, containment defense on the line.
I think Mariota's problem, though, when you watch his game, I watched some of the highlights. His second read is almost like not there. You know what I mean? He's always on the first.
That's what I'm saying. He's
not first.
That's what I'm saying. That if he can get,
go ahead.
I was saying, I agree, because that plays into like saying if you can get more creative with the play calling, where he doesn't have to focus on what's the second read. It's either I'm going to run for 5 or I can throw it for 15 kind of thing. Like a little bit more creative.
That's what I was going to say. That kind of turns into like a third read for him. The third option, him running the ball, which he's been good at since he's been in the league. He's never been elite, but that's if some were to say that's probably what he does best, Mariota, is use his legs. So, no, I agree with you, Brady, for sure.
See that giving the Niners a little bit of problems. Plus, their Emmanuel Mosley's out for the season, too. He tore his Achilles last game after the pick 6, so it'll be a little short-handed there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to really come down, and this might be to where it comes down to what Eddie believes in most is the trench game. And I think that the rushing attack from San Francisco is ultimately going to just diminish the defensive line on the Atlanta Falcons. And whether it's big runs or not, I think they're going to get the yards that they need to get the first down on a short 3rd and 1 or whatever the case may be. So I see it favoring in San Francisco's direction.
Yeah, I like the take, but let's keep going. Second game of the day, New England Patriots going into Cleveland Browns. Both teams are 2-3. Cleveland's a 2.5-point favorite here. That's kind of interesting considering the butt whooping that the Patriots put on Detroit last weekend, holding them to holding the highest scoring offense to 0. And then I understand the Detroit defense is bad, but 29, that's good when you're playing. The Browns are playing catch up against the Chargers, whose defense is almost as bad as Detroit's. So if that similar defenses playing each other, you're looking at a 29-28 game right now, and the Patriots would win it. So I actually do like the Patriots here. I'm going Patriots just because I like Belichick, and if you can slow down the run game and that offensive line trouble that Detroit was having for the first 4 weeks, you can slow down this Browns, run game as well. So I like that take. I like the Patriots and how well Ramondre Stevenson has been running now that he's getting the full workload. They pretty much handed him the reins and he's taken off. So I like that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers, I wanted to go Cleveland too, but I went against the Patriots last week and I picked the Lions because I just thought, that they had that offense and that offense was going to put things up. And for the same reason why I wanted to pick Cleveland, that run game, it was just like the run game's good. You check the numbers, Mac Jones, 97 attempts, 64 completions, 786 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You look over at the Browns, Jacoby Brissett, 161 attempts, 103 completions, 1,060 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. It's like this guy's, he's scoring points. He's not, necessarily turning the ball over that much. I mean, that you would like that to be a lot better. You'd like double digits with the 3, but we're not getting that. It is what it is. And I was just looking, I was just checking the numbers. Cooper, Amari Cooper's, putting up decent numbers, I guess compared, and I was just like, that run game is, Chubb is just, he's killing 7 touchdowns, man. And I just wanted to go, but like Brady's saying, if there's a staff that's going to be able to kind of try to dissect this squad, it's definitely them. I thought no way was the New England Patriots going to have, the ability to shut down the number one accumulating offense. I didn't think that it was possible. Well, it was. So I'm gonna go New England too. I'm gonna stick with the coaching staff on this one. I'm not gonna get tied up in the rushing yards per game or any of that, and I'm gonna stay with New England. But I really, before the start, I was off camera. We weren't recording. I was just looking at some things. I really was gonna go Cleveland here because I like that run game, and Chubb is just and then you got Hunt. I just it's hard to still not choose.
You want to go Browns.
It's still hard not to choose the Browns, but I'm gonna stick with the Patriots here. I don't know about you, Nick, but I'm going Patriots.
Well, I'm going with the Patriots too. I'll keep it blunt. Browns, no doubt, have the best run game in the NFL. Definitely coming full force with Chubb, number one running back in the league. But for me, it's the coaching staff. I'm kind of vibe with you and Brady, what you guys were saying about the coaching staff. It says a lot from Bill Belichick, I feel like, personally, to shut out the Detroit Lions, who are averaging 28 points a game. Sure, they're letting up 34 points a game for the year, but they're averaging 28 points a game on offense, and that's been shown in every week. Even playing a team like the Eagles, yeah, we played week one, but they scored 36 points on the Eagles. 35 one week, so they're averaging points per game. So for the coaching staff of New England to diminish them of any points, I think says a lot. With or without Mac Jones, whoever you put there, I think the defense is a little bit more ready. That it's a soft defense on the other side of the field for the Browns. The Browns are really going to struggle, even with Damian Harris. The Patriots are definitely going to miss Damian Harris being absent from this game. But Hamon-Rondre Stevenson, did I say that right?
Dramondre.
Something Ramondre.
Okay. Ramondre Stevenson, I think his workload gets just more improved this week with Damian Harris being out, and they've improved. The defense is better than Cleveland, so I just see the Cleveland Browns falling short to this one. I think that the Patriots are trying to plant the seed, like, look, we're still the New England Patriots. I'm still Bill Belichick, but New England Patriots.
You never butcher names, Nick. It's Ramondre Stevenson. Y'all surprised me. Y'all almost broke me to flop back over to the Patriots, but I'm going Cleveland Browns here. I'm going the home team. Yes, Cleveland has not been good on defense. They will get Myles Garrett back this week. It looks like, though, that'll be a big boost. Maybe a Jadeveon Clowney as well. I still think there's a lot more points in this game than really what it shapes up to be. But I like the way Cleveland's offense has executed, and I think they have enough balance. I mean, Jacoby's definitely not going to wow anybody, but like Eddie mentioned, he's not really turned the ball over either. And Amari Cooper has quietly put together a good season on a Browns team that's run first with Jacoby Brissett as quarterback, I think. I think the Browns get this one. I think they might even cover the spread of 2 points. I'm liking it like a 28-23 ball game. I'm gonna go Cleveland.
I'm not against that.
Phenomenal.
I wanted to go with them, but
my thing, real quick, Brady. I know you got something to say. Just real quick. The Patriots, I just feel like the defense is more ready to deal with the rushing attack from Nick Chubb. I mean, they've improved, and they're one of the low-key best defenses in the league. I think they rank 6 or 7 in defenses right now. So it's like, and they've always kind of been that kind of team. So that's really what separates it for me. I feel like the defense is so much more ready for the Cleveland offense. And it being Jacoby Brissett, not that he's been great, but he's been, like you said, balanced. I think the Patriots set that apart this week. I think they set him off balance, and they're going to get to him and make him make mistakes.
Also, for me, no Garrett, questionable, and Jadeveon questionable. There's a lot of questionables. I had to go coaching.
Garrett should be back this week, like Charlie said, though. I did read that.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Browns have been able to move the ball, but again, the defense has been struggling. We've touched on it, but it'll be a good game. It'll be a real matchup of a good defense versus good offense, and then okay defense versus an okay offense. So it'll be fun to watch. But let's jump into this next game. A battle of two, I guess you could say, surprising 3-2 teams. Jets being a 3-2 team that you probably didn't think would be a 3-2 team, and you got the Packers, who probably thought would be a little bit better than 3-2, are now 3-2.
Well said.
Green Bay, another 7.5 point favorite. I don't know if Vegas just isn't seeing what we're seeing, but they're giving this team another touchdown plus point margin right now for not being able to cover 2 weeks in a row.
Doubling down.
They refuse to give up on this Packers team. I mean, the defense is playing below what they should be, and the offense is missing Devontae. We say it all week in, week out. They're missing that one key player that finalizes the team
For sure.
But despite that, I'm still going to take the Packers. I just don't think the Jets will have enough to compete. I mean, they have the weapons. Obviously, you saw them put up 40 against Miami. But they also had the ball a lot, considering Miami was down to their third string quarterback, so they weren't really doing much movement there. And I think the Packers, they do well at controlling the time. They do well at controlling the refs. They do well at controlling who are apparently a big factor in the league right now. But Packers are they're good at controlling the ball. They're good at controlling the game speed and getting and moving the ball like long drives and have no problem. And you got a great quarterback at the helm there, so I'm going Packers.
I don't know. I'm crazy, I guess. You know, I'm gonna go Jets. Jets. Shout out to the nose on this one. I'm going Jets here because I'm crazy, and you know, I just want to say some crazy things. So I'm going against the Green Bay Packers here and Aaron Rodgers. You know, it's just I don't like the receivers. And I just don't like the way they have to play football now, which is we have no one to bail us out. There's no help. He's got no help. You know, the defense is on the field a lot. They're 3 and out a lot. I don't know, man. The Giants beat them. I think the Jets can beat them if the Giants can beat them. That's it. That's why. If the Giants can beat them, I think the Jets can beat them. That's all I got. That's what I was that's what I was leading to. I mean, that's right there. That should be enough for anybody, right? I mean, to just not put money down and pick one. I mean, that's for me. That's what I'm going to do here. I don't know about you, Nikki, but I'm going with the Jets.
I think you know about me. I think that everybody watching knows about me. I'm going Jets as well. Shout out to my big brother Matt. Just got off the phone with him before we started the cast. I told him I was taking the Jets again this week. I took them the last 2 weeks. They got the W both weeks. It's hard for me to pick the Packers this week. I'm not going to just pick the Packers solely on them being the Packers or Aaron Rodgers being there anymore. Like, I can't do that based on what I have seen presented on the field. The receiving core is definitely a problem. Zach Wilson is coming off his 2 best career games since he's been in the league. Breece Hall doing his thing. That defense is finally coming together for the Jets. It's still in the middle of the pack there. I'm not talking no powerhouse defense or nothing like that. But I think the Jets can keep it close enough to inch this one out. But I also think that if the Jets can get off to a quick start, I think the Jets might take this one by steam, and everybody's going to be real surprised. And then the Packers are really going to start being questioned. But I'm going Jets. I'm going to keep it simple. Eddie pretty much said everything.
They're under 50% on third downs. They're 42% on third downs. Their defense is allowing 30. Yeah.
Green Bay.
Yeah. Green Bay Packers. So I mean, it's like, look, it's not that Aaron Rodgers isn't good, right? But in the situations in which we were used to him being the most elite, he's not getting the help. So it's like, it's not that I don't want to pick Green Bay or I don't think Aaron Rodgers is balling. I just don't think that when Green Bay gets in certain situations, they're going to be able to get out of these certain situations. I mean, for me, third downs under 50%, I think that's a pretty big, that's a decent number to hang on to and say, listen, that's something we need to improve on. You know,
yeah,
I mean,
the
they
confidence
You got
have.
1 and 2, Charlie. What you got?
They went for it 4 times on fourth down. They only got it once this year. I'm just saying.
The confidence level that you have in a Green Bay Packers offense is not at a high level. I agree. And the playmakers that the Jets are trotting out on the field on both sides of the ball are giving you a lot of reason to be optimistic about the Jets. And I was nicely optimistic about the Jets coming into this year as well. I don't buy this one, though. I think at the end of the day, veteran leadership ends up proving to be the key for the Packers at the end of the day. I think they're going to surrender some points. I think Zach Wilson is going to produce. I think Bryce Hall is going to produce. I think Garrett
Brees
Wilson's
Hall.
going to produce. Brees Hall. I think they're all going to make some plays, and you're going to see at times it's going to look upsetty. But I think at the end of the day, the Packers rally, come out solid, finish the game, get the W at the end. So I'm going Green Bay.
Yeah,
Well,
I would like Green Bay to show up here in the second half, similar to other teams in the NFL that we talked about. But again, this is a team that they didn't do anything in the second half last week against the Giants, and I'm sure they know that considering they lost. But they're definitely going to work to improve that. So I like that.
What I like about what you said, Charlie, is the Green Bay Packers defense, rush defense in particular, is in the bottom of the pack. I think like 26, 27, something like that, something deep. So the Jets are going to have no problem running it on the Packers like everybody else has this season. And I think that could take some pressure away from Zach Wilson. And then, like you said, the talent is being optimistic on the talent that the Jets have acquired over the last couple of years. It's definitely intriguing to take the Jets this week. So I'm going Jets again, 3 weeks in a row.
It's the feel good pick. It really is. But going to Lambeau Field, I really want to watch. I really want to watch to see where Sauce Gardner's at in his NFL career right now against a subpar receiving core for the Green Bay Packers. So Sauce Gardner versus Aaron Rodgers. Can Aaron Rodgers bait him into a couple of things? I want to see that. Like, that's the matchup I really want to see out of this game.
Yeah.
That's where that veteran leadership comes in.
All right. Next game though. So split 2-2 on that one. Next game, interesting. Jaguars 2-3, Colts 2-1. Colts looking to get that revenge after getting blanketed. Week 2, I believe it was against Jaguars.
Donut.
23-0 or something like that. Indy's a 2.5-point favorite here at home. Jaguars last week had that ugly. Both these teams had ugly games last week, so I assume this is going to be a really good game of football for them, where they both score like 40 or something. Because last week for both these teams was ugly. Jaguars had 2 field goals against Houston, and they lost 6-13. And the Colts had a field goal contest with Denver going into overtime on Thursday Night Football. So I guess I'm going to go lean the Colts here. They get the extra prep time. You got that extra weekend of film study and watching. My big worry, though, is this Colts, that left tackle. They already lost the left tackle. They bring in this rookie, Bernard Raymond, I think his name is. Yep. And he was getting nothing but beat silly by
lots of holding calls.
Line. Yeah, holding. He gave up like 2 sacks. It wasn't pretty for his day. And so that's the big worry for me, is the fact that he's starting again, and then
he'll be going up against Trayvon Walker, too.
Yeah, and that injury report for the Colts, their defense, like half their defense is on it. So yeah. I don't think Shaquille Leonard's coming back this week either. So I'm just going on the fact that I think the Colts at home trying to do more, and the Jags, as much as I liked seeing what they were doing since that Philly game, they've taken another step back, and then the Colts looking to bounce back after being zeroed by them. So going Colts.
I mean, it's tough, man, because you go Colts because you don't think they're gonna take the sweep, But I mean, Jacksonville just beat them bad, no? I mean, and then they
rematch
barely, and then they barely get past Denver in overtime. That was so gross. Like, how do you say they're gonna improve? Like, you just showed me nothing. You showed me nothing. A field goal fest. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that team would have beaten the Jaguars team last week, though. So.
I'm taking this sweep. Give me this sweep. I don't know about you, Nikki, but I'm taking this sweep. I'm going Jacksonville.
I'm going Jacksonville, Eddie. Jacksonville's taking this dub, and they're taking it with ease. I think some people look at that Eagles game against Jacksonville, and I tried to harp on it as much as I could in that show, talking about the weather. And if you're not an Eagles fan, if you're not a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, you didn't watch that game from start to finish like I did. So, all you could see is highlights or whatever you looked up on the game or whatever. But that game start to finish had a lot to do with the weather. The Jacksonville Jaguars were up 16-0 on the Philadelphia Eagles, and then the weather just came into play. And like I said, so But let's get past that. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are a ton better than the Indianapolis Colts right now. The Indianapolis Colts haven't showed us nothing. And Brady, kudos to the left tackle subject, because that's going to be a problem all game. That Jacksonville defense is fast. They're fast and they're scary. And the way and then Jonathan Taylor is still questionable right now. Who knows if he's gonna play? He's got that ankle injury. He sat out. Deion Johnson.
Jackson.
Deion Jackson. Thank you. Deion Jackson came in and he put in some work too. Though 91 yards on the ground, 17 touches. He definitely did his thing, but. I think the Colts are struggling so bad right now, and they haven't shown me near as much as what the Jags have shown me. You know, you go back to the Philly game, sure, they got decimated by a good team and some severe weather, but I think that Jacksonville wins this game with ease. Jacksonville Jaguars, let's go. What about you, Charlie?
I think this is another one where it's easy to get into our short memory banks and kind of look at what's been done at this early part of the season and go kind of swing towards the youngsters. But I'm taking the Colts here. I think they covered the 2-point spread. Definitely revenge game. The Colts are definitely a better team, but you guys are right. They haven't showed a whole lot to us here lately. Since the season began, they've been a mess, really. Starting off the year with the win and then kind of plunging downhill from there. I like a lot about the Jaguars. I really do. But I think there's you got to pull in the reins a little bit on our expectation for the Jags, because this was a team that was absolutely terrible last year. And they've definitely made big strides of improvement. And there's definitely, again, kind of similar to the Jets, lots of young talent to be excited about. But at the end of the day, going on the road, Indianapolis, division opponent, lots of just feels in that type of situation. And I think the Colts are veteran enough still to handle business and know how to get the job done at the end of the day. It's another game where I can't really. What's that?
I was saying, what do you think about Evan Ingram maybe finding a home over there in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence? The Week 2 matchup, Jacksonville versus the Colts. Like you said, this is the rematch, maybe a revenge game for the Colts. But Evan Ingram, Week 2 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, went 7 catches for 112 yards and a tutty. And that was interesting, and to have him, and the last few weeks he's been producing as well for Trevor Lawrence. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is about to put in some work with the Evan Ingram. Maybe he found him. Maybe he found his guy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he found his security blanket. So
when you stack up weapon for weapon, talent for talent, maybe 40 times versus 40 times, the Jags' weapons on offense look better than what the Colts got on the field. But I look to the quarterback position, as tough of a road it was for Matt Ryan against Denver. You could tell he's still got the leadership to get the job done at the end of the day, and that's why they brought him on there. Hopefully they get a Jonathan Taylor back, but I liked what I saw of the rookie Alec Pierce. Pittman's still a factor, and I like the big tight end that they got too, the Woods kid. So just being at home, I think if it was in Jacksonville again, I might lean the other way, because that seems to be a bad spot for them. Maybe it's a dome team going down south. We talk about Florida being a little bit of a home field advantage during the summertime. People ain't ready for that temperature early, August.
I can add 2 points to that with what Nick was saying, because he was question about Evan Ingram there and having a lot. I believe Week 2 was the week that their the linebacker next to Shaquille Leonard, his name is Zaire Franklin, I believe, who is up there for leading the league in tackles. I believe he was out that game, so that's that'll be a big help in slowing down Evan Ingram there. And then secondly, you were saying that the Colts haven't really shown you anything. They do have a win over KC, which people believe is the best team. Some people believe is the best team in the NFL. So that's a big win, despite the fact that KC may have had a bad game, but they still managed to get it done. That's saying something.
That's true, Brady. So. That is true. They did at least accomplish that, and that's a mountain climb right there.
It is. And that just goes to show, That
It's just
goes
not
to
enough
show
body of
you
work for me.
Any given Sunday.
Well said, Nikki.
It's not this Sunday for Nikki.
I agree.
We can go. We can go this.
Yo, it looks like it's the left versus the right now, baby. Left versus right. Let's go. Bunch of camera over there.
All right, next game. Minnesota Vikings 4-1 going into Miami Dolphins. They are 3-2. Minnesota's a 3-point favorite. I believe the Dolphins have already named Skylar Thompson their starter. They're not even like trying to get Teddy Bridgewater out of the. He is concussion protocol too. They're like, they're not even going to rush this now. It ain't worth the headaches that the media is going to give us. So yeah, the Dolphins just had that big butt whooping against the Jets last week. And then the Vikings had a nice butt whooping going against Chicago, and then they let Chicago almost come back on them. Because they were up like 27 to 26 to 3 or something at one point in time in that game, and then finished off 29-22. So as long as the Vikings don't let the Dolphins come back in the fourth quarter, I think this is a Vikings victory.
100%.
I like what they're doing over there offensively, and I like what I like the way their offense is headed.
Yeah, I'm going Vikings here too. I just the quarterback carousel. I just don't see Skyler coming out and having success against that Minnesota defense, and then they can control the ball and run it with Dalvin Cook if they need to, and then you take the top off with Jefferson. It's going to be tough to get those shiny race cars the ball there, and I'm sure they'll let one loose here or there, but I don't know that they're going to accurately have enough accuracy to get through to the end of this one on top. I'm going Minnesota. I don't know about you, Nikki.
This one hurts for me. I'm going Minnesota Vikings too, just so everybody knows. For me, this one's not even close, and it sucks because everyone forgets that the Miami Dolphins started out 1-7 to start the year. Tua was injured for all 8 of those games. Tua comes back, they go 8-1. Tua was undefeated minus the tie for last year. Comes back this year with an upgraded receiver, Jalen Waddle again, and he's undefeated until he gets hurt. There's a tough break for Miami. I hate it, but Skylar Thompson doesn't have the arm strength to get it done. Not against a team like Minnesota. They're nitty gritty on both sides of the field. They're not by any means top the NFL, but they got the weapons. They got the youth. They got the speed on defense. They got the speed on offense. It's an easy one for me, Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings have bounced back nicely from that just terrible effort against the Eagles. I'm going Vikings as well. I think they cover the 3 points as well. And quietly, at the end of the day, Vikings sitting at 5-1. That's pretty impressive because we're not really after that game. Not a whole lot of afterthought going into the Vikings being up there as high as they are. But they got to fix that defense, though. I think Miami's still going to find a way to score some points with all that speed. I'm sure they'll have some gimmicks and some gadgets to be able to keep the game close for a little while. But yeah, there's too much talent on that Minnesota offense and enough defense to win the game for them. I agree with you guys.
Yeah, that pass rusher they picked up from Green Bay has helped tremendously, and he'll definitely come into factor if Skylar Thompson tries to wait till Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill find an opening.
Zadarius Smith.
That'll be rough.
Zadarius Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But yep, so Vikings across the board. Just jump into this next game. Cincinnati Bengals 2-3 going into New Orleans Saints also 2-3. Cincinnati's a 1.5 point favorite here. Bengals had that last second field goal loss to the Baltimore Ravens last Sunday or Monday? I forget. Sunday Night Football or was that Monday Night Football? Sunday Night Football because the Monday night was the Chiefs game.
The Ravens.
Yeah, Sunday night.
Yeah, against the Ravens. Bengals had, Ravens finally got got the taste of their own medicine that they've been given. And then the Saints had a shootout there with Seattle. I thought that would be a different game the way that game played out. I thought that would have been more defensively for the Saints, but it was just more offense, and that was kind of crazy to see. But with the way this Bengals are playing, it's hard for me to pick them, but I'm going to pick them because I think they need to win. They need to get back. One of those teams needs to get back on the right track. I know we say this a lot, but with the Saints. Andy Dalton and that offense is playing well above their caliber. They're doing way too much trick plays there with Taysom Hill, which have worked tremendously last week, but I don't know if they can continue that streak here against the Bengals. So I'm going to go Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati Bengals too. I just like the quarterback situation. You hope that that offensive line stands up and really understands what's behind them and tries to protect them. You'd like to see, Burrow get a little bit more time back there to be able to make a little bit more of a decision out there. It's hard when you're running for your life every play. I'm sure Justin Fields knows that. I'm definitely going to go Cincinnati here. I don't know. Saints defense hasn't been getting too many sacks the last couple games. You give Burrow that kind of time, you're not getting back there. That's going to be
in general. They had one through like 4 weeks.
Yeah, they don't have many on the season. So for me, that was something that jumped off the page at me. That was big, and that's the sole reason on why I'm going to go Cincinnati Bengals, because if you don't get to Burrow, he's going to burn you. And I think potentially if that line can give Burrow some time against this struggling D line of New Orleans, then I see it going Cincinnati's way. If not, though, then the Saints could wrangle them in. I don't know about you, Nikki. I'm going Cincy.
Cincinnati Bengals. Not too much to say about this game. Both teams have struggled to produce like those big kind of plays, those big kind of like chunk yard plays. I'm going quarterback too on this one. I'm also going Trey Hendrickson on this one. On the defense of Cincinnati, I think he's gonna get to Winston, and I think they're gonna. And then you got it's tough over in New Orleans because you never know what they're gonna be throwing at you. They always got a mix of something. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
You had last week with Taysom Hill with that big 87 yards and 87 yards, 67 yards, something like that. So 87-yard run, which it's crazy. They can do those type of things, but I don't find the Bengals giving this one up. I feel like they're a little bit better on defense, and I feel like the quarterback is that much better. So I definitely feel like I'm leaning towards Cincinnati Bengals. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I agree with all three of y'all. I'm gonna go Cincinnati. I think we get a little Jamar Chase, a couple splash plays from him. I think they're able to with the lack of pass rush, like Eddie mentioned. That's a big key. And Eddie's 110% right. If you get Burrow time, he's gonna get you. Defensively, kind of a wash for me on both sides of the ball. Both teams are decent enough, but neither squad quite wows me. But you bring up an interesting point with Hendrickson going against that New Orleans Saints line, who have been pretty good run blocking, but they haven't been good all year pass protection. So I like what both you gentlemen said. I'm going to play off of y'all too. Bengals, definitely.
It's going to be a game. Okay. Like that offensive line is going to have to stand up. I mean, they're going to have to, don't let a struggling D line come in and push you back. Like, they're struggling, so you guys get on the same page and go get this dub.
Yeah, Taysom Hill 4 touchdowns last week. 4 touchdowns. Yeah. Out of nowhere. So you're right. They can do that stuff.
And a fumble recovery, right? On like a block punt or something.
On a punt, that's what's hard. That's what's hard for me. It's like Bengals have a tough schedule this year. You know what? They haven't shown that they weren't the Super Bowl contenders last year, but they're showing like it's like they really fought their way into it last season, and they're gonna have to do the same thing this year. So this is another tough week for them.
It's just you can count on. Sorry, go ahead, Rich.
Unanimous.
No, I was just saying unanimous, and I was going to move on. But if you wanted to add one more thing to the game.
No, just off of what Nick said, you can count on Burrow if he's got time.
Hell yeah.
You can't count all the time on what the Saints are going to be able to do. They can surprise you with the effort that they did with Taysom, but I'm sure New Orleans is going to be ready for that type of surprise. Plus, Olave's banged up. Michael Thomas still is not practicing. New Orleans banged up a lot, and if Winston does play, he's not going to be at 100%, and Andy Dalton doesn't scare you. Taysom was the only reason they beat the Seahawks at home last week. So,
yeah, like that.
Moving on. Got surprising game here because you got Ravens 3-2 at the Giants, who are 4-1, and Baltimore's a 5.5-point favorite here in the Giants' home, who have a better record. Giants had that big old London win against Green Bay, comeback victory. Ravens giving Cincinnati a taste of the medicine that they've been dealt all season long, where a last-second field goal wins the other team the game. So, I guess kudos to Ravens finally getting it done in their favor. But I'll go Ravens here. Just the fact of the Lamar effect, I guess. The things he could pull out of his hat is going to give that Giants defense trouble. As well as that defense is played, it's a whole different ball game between slowing down Aaron Rodgers and slowing down a quarterback who can just run on 30 yards on you out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're not playing. You're not lying here. I definitely thought about this long and hard here. Definitely wasn't an easy decision to make. Lamar's dynamic. He's definitely a dynamic individual. There's absolutely no denying that part about Lamar Jackson. Because you just don't know. It's like he drops back to pass the ball, and before you know it, like he's 60 yards downfield. He's just literally electric. And you got that center Linderbaum, man, and he just throws one little slit in the line, and bro, Lamar's gone. He's just jets on, bro. Like it's tough, man. I realize that the way you could beat the Giants is literally with Lamar, because we don't really have the linebackers out there who's got that elite speed. We're still waiting for Ojulari and the hamstring. I mean, I would say he's our fastest 40 time in the 40 amongst linebackers, I would argue. We do got Jalen Smith. We signed a couple. We signed a couple guys. We got Landon Collins. We got in the secondary. We got Fabian Monroe running a nice little 40, and you also got Adoree Jackson, the fastest in the draft when he came out at his position. I'm gonna just cut to the chase here. I'm gonna go to New York Giants because they're on a roll. There's a lot going on here. I'm gonna go New York because I think that New York potentially could win this at home. Lamar and that Baltimore's defense is giving up a lot of yards passing. So, plus Bateman's foot, and he didn't practice today. Bateman's foot's messed up. Now you got a limping Bateman. I think Adoree can hold a limping Bateman down, and then potentially, all you got to do is flood the box, play man, And look, Martindale came from the Ravens. He's seen Lamar a lot. If anybody knows how to stop Lamar, he's on our team. So I'm going New York Giants here. Hopefully we get to 5-1. This is huge because the Giants need to win this because an incredible game, which we'll talk about in a little while, is going to be played, and that will dictate a lot in our division. And I think the Giants are really going to try and come and stand up and fight, not only for the bowl, but for the record and for moving forward. There's a lot on the line. They got some continuity going. I'm going Big Blue here.
Oof. Okay, so I knew that was going to be a mouthful. I knew Eddie has some good things because his Giants are on a roll. The Giants beat the Tennessee Titans, number 1 seed last year. They beat the Green Bay Packers, number 1 seed last year. Can't deny what they're doing on defense. Can't deny the poise they have from Daniel Jones right now. I'm going Baltimore Ravens. 2 reasons, Eddie. The first reason is that Lamar Jackson is averaging 7.9 yards attempt, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception off the blitz. The blitz is the only thing the New York Giants have, okay? And I'm not taking it from them. But when you look at that, right, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are succeeding off the blitz. That's all the Giants have, okay? And then another thing for me is the way for the Ravens to, or the way for the Giants to beat the Baltimore Ravens is to throw over the top, right? That's the easiest and best way and most efficient way this season that the Ravens have been getting beat on defense. Let's throw over the top, And the number one struggling team in the league for throwing over the top is the Giants. It's tough for me. Those are my two reasons. Baltimore's good against the blitz. The Giants struggling to throw over the top. I gotta take Baltimore Ravens. It's my first time all year picking against the Giants. I think this is a loss for them. I don't think it's a huge deal. Like I started off with, you guys beat the Titans in Green Bay. I don't think it says a lot. It is a huge statement game if the Giants do win this. I would love to see them win. I'm gonna be cheering for the Giants this game, even though I shouldn't. I'm an Eagles fan. But yeah, I'm going Baltimore Ravens. What about you, Charlie?
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. I think this is a bad matchup for the Giants defense. Lanes will be open for a lightning quick Lamar Jackson. That's where the difference falls. And you're right. If you can't throw over the top on that Ravens defense, it's going to be a long day for you because they're still going to play aggressive towards the run. I think the Giants are going to be able to play their brand of football, but I think this is a bad matchup for their brand of football because they want to muck it up and they want to slow it down. And there's nothing about Lamar that's slow. The Giants are going to need turnovers in this game. If they can create multiple turnovers by the hitting that they've been doing all year. Now, don't get me wrong. I think they've got a more uphill battle in this game than they did against the Packers and the Titans because it's a different beast coming at you, and I think this one's going to be problematic for them. So I'm going Ravens.
I think Tay Crowder has a big game here.
And he's going to need the big game, Eddie. I'm cheering for the Giants. It's just tough for me with that stat intact with Lamar averaging 7.9, 7 touchdowns and 1 pick off the blitz. And that's what the Giants are going to be bringing. And there's no reason they shouldn't. It's just tough for me to side with the Giants defense this game in particular.
I mean, if he knows that blitzing's not going to work, then I don't think he'll do it. I don't think Martindale's just going to do something just to do it. You know what I mean? I don't see it. We'll see how the game gets played.
It'll be a banger.
We'll see how the game gets played.
This is one of the 3 games to watch this week, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
Yeah, big game. That's a super exciting one for sure. But next game, got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-2 going into the Pittsburgh Steelers 1-4. Tampa Bay is an 8-point favorite here on the road. I guess this is coming from the fact that the Steelers just got the biggest beatdown of the season last week against Buffalo, 3-38, and you haven't seen much since Kenny Pickett's been able, stepped into the role. We've touched on it, all the time. That offensive line's struggling, so he's gonna have a rough time and. He's got another tough defense here. As the Bucs defense, it's shown its holes, but again, it's still, up there in the top 10 defenses in the league right now. So I got to go Bucs here. I just think that defense will be able to slow the Steelers, and then the Steelers defense is still banged up. They're still missing pieces, and they have the wide receiver depth to avoid your big guys like Minka Fitzpatrick. And if Julio is healthy this week finally, then you can see some more that crazy over-the-top stuff that Gabriel Davis was hitting. So I like the Bucs here.
Yeah, I like the Bucs here too. I think this is another tough game for Kenny Pickett to be a starter in. I mean, this is his second start, right? This is his second one here. The first one was against Buffalo, which I said then was just of all the ones you got to get, you got to get them. I think this is another one, the Bucs defense. I'm sure is going to create pressure for him. It's going to be it's definitely going to be a rainy day, even if it's sunny out. They're potentially going to struggle, and I think the Bucs are going to win this one. I don't think this is another good one for Kenny to be in. I mean, they're just struggling all the way around here. They're not putting up points, man, and that defense isn't allowing any points. I mean, they're allowing as many points as Pittsburgh could score. The Bucs are only letting up 16 a game. The Steelers are only putting up 15. That's tough for me, right there. That's you're just not generating points, and points is the name of the game. That's what we have to do. We got to score points. Pittsburgh struggling to score points, man. I'm going to Bucs here. I don't know. What about you, Nick?
Okay, pay attention, boys. All right, listen. Next week, y'all can holler at me and maybe look back on the cast and see why Nick's winning so much, but I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this game because Kenny Pickett and that offense has been playing a lot better than the numbers indicate. The numbers show otherwise, but like you said, Eddie, he played against the Buffalo Bills last week. Brady, I wanna come to you real quick, and I want to know how incredibly banged up that secondary is for the Buccaneers. Can you just give me who's coming out to start this week?
I believe all the guys that were banged up they're coming back into practice, whether it's limited fashion or I think Mike Edwards I think was full, like it was just banged up. But the issue is the main target I guess is if Carlton Davis plays man defense, and then if Sean Murphy Bunting has to step in, and then if Kenny Pickett is smart enough to realize that he's the weak link and target him, because that's what that's where where we've gotten beat was when the smart quarterback like Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, they found the weak link on the defense and they attacked it. The Steelers offense needs a lot to be able for him to realize who's the weak link and how to get that matchup set up. How do you get that guy in motion to understand what the defense is? And I don't know if the Steelers offensively are there yet.
Well, that's exactly
I think Kenny Pickett's a great thrower. I just don't know if he's at that level on that offense, if it's moving around enough for him to get the reading of a defense.
Well, it's almost exactly what I wanted you to say, because I feel like I said, I feel like Kenny Pickett and that offense are doing a lot better than what the numbers are indicating, and having a tough Buffalo team and then even another tough Bucs team to come play against. But I think that what we were talking about last week with that kind of safe play, almost losing to the Falcons, kind of almost giving up a comeback, I think that same sort of safe play comes into play again this week, considering the Bucs are very questionable for me. I still have them at the top of my list and best teams in the NFL, but it's very questionable as far as talent goes and as far as what Tom Brady's capable of doing without playing safe. So I think he plays another safe game, and I think Pittsburgh exploits it this week, and I think Kenny Pickett has a good game. I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers. Charlie, what about you?
Can't dive into that end of the pool wholeheartedly, but I will agree with you that the Bucs don't scare me at this juncture of the season. They remind me of the Rams last year, where it just feels like there's something missing from the mix. And we touched on it a lot at the beginning of the year with veteran leaderships and stuff like that. They do seem to be playing a different style of ball. I don't see them losing to Pittsburgh, but I don't think this is going to be such a pretty game either. I like it like 17-9 Bucs. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this because there's another pretty good defensive mind. Tomlin at least gets the troops rallied together to play their best football when it need be. And I think that they will do enough to slow down this Bucs offense, which still hasn't really just taken off like we've seen in the prior years. For one reason or another, whether it be, having receivers banged up, having offensive line banged up, the whole thing just still hasn't gelled for me yet. Although they put up some good points against KC, but it was trail mode, and KC's pass defense is not that good at all this year. I like what Pickett can do, but Najee's still not at 100%. You still need a running game to have that offense elevate. And then you got the tight end Freiermuth, who's dealing with a concussion, probably not going to play either. So those two factors, for me, it's going to be so much on Kenny Pickett. And I think Brady's right a little bit. He's going to find success because I feel like the Bucs can be thrown on in certain situations with a good group of wide receivers. But consistently moving the ball all the way down and cashing in for touchdowns instead of field goals, I think that's where Pittsburgh's going to find problems. Is cashing it in because they have no run game right now.
Yeah, the guy behind Najee, James Warren, he's stepped in huge for like the pass blocking role, but he's not been able to fill the running role that Najee had last year. There was a couple plays where I watched that man run down 30 yards just to give a wide receiver an extra block. Like, that's part of football for that man. But yeah, I agree. There's not
the hustle from him for sure, but I think Najee's still dealing with that foot from preseason. I think there's something that's not 100%, that he's kind of playing through, and maybe he's not leading on how much it's maybe bother him, because he doesn't look like the same guy we saw last year. He was running people over. He wasn't necessarily running away from people at all, and he would be stymied a lot, but he was either breaking off catches, for 40-yard chunks, or just these runs that would come out of nowhere where it was just like, wow, that dude's talented. They just had a passing offense. If Ben was gone, this dude would be lighting it up. It's the reason why he was taken so high in fantasy drafts too. Like, we all expected Najee to continue to ascend, and it's tough right now. Some's not 100% with him. Jalen Warren shouldn't be playing that much, in my opinion. He shouldn't be out there that much.
But we can move on here.